Welcome to the first podcast slash video journal slash miscellaneous of the Papaya Storm website. Again, I'm not really sure what exactly this is and what this exactly will be, but I guess it's fun to experiment, and I feel like there's some things better said than being written down. So, first of all, I'd like to thank all the people who've been coming and visiting the site, who've been sharing it, who've been doing their part in helping build momentum for it. Um, One day, who knows, there might be people out there who are willing to send their links to the website, their articles, and it could be a community of sorts. But again, thank you to my family, to my friends, to everybody who showed me support and who've encouraged me to actually do it. The website. Um, it got me going. I don't know. I don't know what the first topic is really for this first podcast. I mean, I thought about birthdays for a while. I was gonna be all like, metaphysical and stuff about that stuff. But really, the question was when you stop caring about birthdays. Because as a kid, you think about birthdays almost nonstop, especially when it's like a few weeks before your birthday, because it's cake, it's presents, it's being paid attention. It's really those selfish things. But as a kid, let's face it, that's all you are as a person. It's very like me, 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 me. But now I don't know when it stopped. That sort of thinking it's about the presents you get. Like that was sort of standard. The amount of gifts you get for that birthday is somehow proves like how good that birthday was. But now for me, I can't think of anything that I really would want on that same level as I would have when I was 11. You know, I mean, yeah. I mean, what I'm trying to say is basically a birthday is like any day. And it's not about me anymore. I mean, the only reason why I like birthdays or any celebration, well, not celebrate, it sounds really pretentious for me, but how about this? The only reason why I like having parties and celebrations is only because I like meeting people now. It's no longer about the Xbox or the video games. It's been replaced by meeting people and hanging out with them. And that's a good feeling. I don't know if I'm going to grow older and then suddenly, again, have that sort of yearning to get things. Because, there are plenty of, people who are older who like cars, who get new cars, who get new houses, who buy, again, gadgets and stuff like, TVs and stuff. So I'm not sure if that comes back, that yearning returns. I'm not sure if that's going to click, but for now, I just look forward to meeting people and I look forward to seeing my family, that sort of thing. And another thing I wanted to bring up is something that the website really likes to discuss. The website, me basically, likes to discuss is the idea of origins, or what does it mean to be an American? What does it mean to be, what does it mean to be an American? Period. And for me especially, I grew up I'm born and raised in America. I grew up in Queens, then went to school, really, high school, especially in New Jersey, and then I'm studying now journalism in Georgetown. And so it's like, for me though, when I think of home, when someone asks me what home is, I just say where my parents are living now, which is in New Jersey. Fine, but where are you from? It's like, well, I'm from, New York. That was where I was born. So it's funny because, obviously there's other implications there when someone asks you where you're from. I don't want to keep hitting that nail or whatever they say, whatever that cliche that people use or whatever they say. But what I'm trying to say is it's always interesting to me now. I feel like the reason why I like journalism is because journalism offers room for someone like me to fill, which is, I kind of look forward to moving around. I kind of look forward to not being in one place because I can't picture myself being in one place all the time. I'm so used to having different parts of me kept in different parts of America already. Like there's a piece of me in New York, there's a piece of me in New Jersey, and there's going to be a piece of me here in DC. And again, the idea of home, what home is, I used to think it was when I was in New York, it was just like when I was in Queens, New York. It was just, oh, it's Queens. It's this house I lived in, the people I knew, that's it. It's that place right there. But then, when I moved to New Jersey, it was changed because all my friends from Queens, I lost contact with them. Just, I don't speak to them anymore. And so all my friends I have now to this very day, which I'm very grateful for, are friends I had when I was in Jersey. And so I lived another 10 years in Jersey, junior high and high school. And then, I went to school in Jersey, college, university in Jersey, and then I went to, now I'm here in grad school here in Georgetown, making new friends. So it's just this constant movement, this constant sense of, I don't know, like when someone asks me what home is, I can only say home is where my family and friends are. That's the best way I can put it. If my mom and dad, lived with me in DC, it'd be like home official. If my mom and dad were living in Seattle, Washington, and I went there and I lived with them, that'd be home official. If I had friends who lived in Seattle, Washington, and I went there, I don't know why I'm thinking about Seattle, that's just really weird. But it's a great place, I'm sure. I don't know why I'm thinking about Seattle. But what I'm trying to say is that home really depends, for me at least, where the people I care about are in proximity. Like, home is where my family is. Home is where my friends are. That's what home is. Because by now, I've been to several different places. I still feel sort of not, stuck to one place, not rooted to one place, except for the whole place called United States of America. It's a good and bad feeling. It's a good feeling in the sense that I guess I can adapt easier maybe, but it's a bad feeling of, don't really know how to answer the question of home all the time. It's not that simple. Because again, the reason why I like Queens in New York is because the person I am now wouldn't be the person I am if it weren't for Queens. Because in Queens, I didn't have cable TV really, all that kind of stuff. And I would be constantly outside. I'd be constantly walking around. I remember still the library being a focal point of my life there. I'd go to play at the park with friends, and I'd go to the library right across the street. And I would be so happy to be reading books there. It sounds nerdy. I'm a nerd, I'll admit it. But it just, to me, that was a really meaningful time in my life. Because it was really, I don't want to say simple, because it brings up this sort of, what's the word? This sort of, oh, things were so simple back then, when they really weren't. But at least for this, I feel like it was sort of, park, play, library, read. And I remember also when I used to go with my mom shopping with her to the local supermarkets, we'd walk, and she sometimes she sometimes dropped by into the library for me, because that would be my sort of, reward for being quiet and not being that much annoying to her, because she had a lot of things to do. My mom works really hard to take care of the family. So, so if she could get a little break, that's fine. And I used to sit in the library and read. And my dad would do the same thing on the weekends. That would be my reward, to go to the library. Of course, they'd buy me stuff, like, they'd get things. But at the same end of the day, I was happy with the library, because it was just, it's just so cool. And I wouldn't even read the books for, like, weeks. I'd always read them, like, a couple of days before they were due, because during the whole span of weeks, I'd be constantly looking at the books and imagining what kind of stories there would be in the books before I'd open them. You know what I mean? Like, I read the summary on the back and think to myself, oh, this is going to be the greatest book ever. And I wouldn't read it. And also the comic books I would, borrow too. Same thing. I would not even read the dialogue. I would just spin through them. But whatever it was, when it, there were so many things to see in Queens. But New Jersey, not to leave New Jersey out, when I came to New Jersey, all the friends I have now, to this very day, and I know who they are, they're from New Jersey. And I am really, really happy I know them. Because New Jersey was difficult because I couldn't figure it out. Because it's very different from, say, living in Queens. Parts of New Jersey are extremely different from living in Queens. But, the friends I made there, they made it so much easier to fit in. And it's interesting because you have best of both worlds, so to speak. So by now I guess I'd call myself a Jersey kid, though. That's the thing. Even though New York was so important to me, I'll be honest, I wouldn't be able to function in a city like New York immediately. Like, if I were living in Queens and I moved to Manhattan or went, into the so-called, the hub of New York, maybe it'd be easier for me. But since I have lived in New Jersey for a long time, half my life in New York, half my life in New Jersey, the New Jersey part of it is now more relevant to who I am. You know, and now it's being in DC. Well, that's just, I mean, DC itself is just, it's been an awesome time. Again, I'm meeting new people here. I'm having a good time. And most of all, I like what I do, which is journalism. Again, thanks to my parents. And, like I said, I'm doing video journals. Like, that's not even, I don't think I would have been doing this 5 years ago. I would have been maybe too shy or too remote to even try this. But, yeah, the idea of home, again, the idea of home, idea of who you are as a person, for me at least, depends on who I'm with. Because if it's someone I love and someone I care about and someone I can, be myself with, then that's home. It could be anywhere, really. It could be in the cold, in the, it could be anywhere, in the cold and hot weather. It doesn't matter. As long as I'm with someone I care about and I love, then that's where I am. I'm here. I'm here. I feel real. And yeah, so those are some thoughts I had. Again, I don't know where this is going, where this is heading, as you can probably tell from how fragmented that all was. But if anyone has any comments to help me out, figure a way out of dealing with these thoughts, and maybe if someone has any comments and, on how to make this better, let me know. And till the next time. I don't even have a good way of ending this, really. All I can say is visit the site more often, read the articles, and again, thank you to everybody who's been patient with the site and who's been patient with me as a person. And that includes everybody, family, friends, Okay, so I don't know how to end this, to be honest. I'm going to end it just without saying a single word right now.